Stop before you trust your own thoughts again. Understand this. You're not thinking as clearly as you believe. And the scariest part? You have no system to detect when you're wrong. Right now, there are people learning faster than you, making better decisions than you, and adapting in half the time, not because they're smarter, but because they can see their own thinking while it's happening. And you can't. This video will show you the hidden levels of thinking, the system inside your mind that decides whether you grow or repeat the same mistakes for years. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Section 1. The illusion of thinking. You probably believe you're thinking clearly right now, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't actually thinking. They're just reacting, reading words, listening to sounds, solving problems, but never questioning how they're doing it. It feels like thinking, but it's not controlled. It's automatic. And automatic thinking is dangerous because when your brain runs on autopilot, it doesn't check for mistakes. It doesn't verify accuracy. It doesn't slow down when it's wrong. It just keeps going, confidently, even when it's completely incorrect. This is where most people live, and they don't even realize it. Section 2, Level 1, Basic Thinking Cognition. At the most basic level, your brain is simply processing. You read, you listen, you respond, you try to understand something, you try to solve something, you try to remember something. This is called basic thinking, and it's where everything starts. But here's the problem. At this level, you have zero awareness of whether you're right or wrong. If something feels familiar, you assume you understand it. If an answer comes quickly, you assume it's correct. If you feel confident, you assume you're smart. But confidence is not accuracy, and familiarity is not understanding. This is why people can spend hours studying and still fail. Why someone can repeat the same mistake for years without realizing it. Because they're thinking without supervision. And thinking without supervision is like driving blindfolded. Eventually, you crash. Section 3, The First Awakening. Now imagine this. You're reading something and suddenly you realize, I have no idea what I just read. That moment, that's powerful. Because for the first time, you're not just thinking, you're watching your thinking, and that changes everything. Section 4, Level 2, Awareness of your mind. This is where most people start to wake up. At this level, you begin to notice what's happening inside your head. You catch yourself drifting. You notice confusion. You feel the difference between guessing and actually knowing. You start to see when your emotions are interfering, when you're distracted, when your focus is gone, and suddenly, your mind is no longer invisible to you. But here's the catch. Awareness alone doesn't fix anything. It just exposes the problem. You can sit there knowing you're confused and still do nothing about it. You can realize you're distracted and still scroll your phone. You can feel your focus slipping and still push forward blindly. Awareness is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Now you can see the mess, but it's still there. Section 5, Why most people stop here. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They become aware, but not effective. They know they're making mistakes, but they keep repeating them because knowing something is wrong is not the same as fixing it. And that's where the next level begins. Section 6, Level 3, Understanding your patterns. Now things start getting dangerous in a good way. At this level, you begin to understand how your mind behaves over time. You start recognizing patterns. You realize you don't learn well by just rereading. You feel productive, but retain nothing. You notice that when you test yourself, your weaknesses become obvious. You realize multitasking feels efficient, but destroys your accuracy. You start seeing the truth behind your habits. Not what feels good, but what actually works. And now, you can predict your own performance before you even begin. Instead of saying, "Why did I fail?" you start asking, "Was this method going to work in the first place?" This is where intelligence starts to evolve, because now you're no longer guessing. You're operating with insight. Section 7, The Shift from Random to Strategic. Before this level, learning is random. You try things. Some work. Most don't. And you figure it out too late. But now, You start with intention. You choose strategies that are proven. You avoid traps you've already identified. You stop wasting time on methods that only feel productive. And suddenly, your effort begins to multiply. Section 8, Level 4, Control over your thinking. This is where power truly begins. Because now, you don't just understand your mind, you control it. Before starting a task, you plan your approach. While working, you monitor your performance. If something isn't working, you change it immediately. You don't wait for failure. You correct in real time. If your focus drops, you adjust. If confusion appears, you slow down. If a method fails, you replace it. You stop forcing bad strategies. You stop repeating ineffective habits. And this changes everything, because most people only learn after they fail. But here, you adapt before failure happens. You save time. You save energy. You move faster, with less effort. Section 9, the difference between thinkers and adapters. There are two types of people: those who keep doing the same thing, hoping for different results, and those who adjust. Mid-process, the second group always wins, not because they're smarter, but because they're flexible, and flexibility is the highest form of intelligence. Section 10, Level 5, Questioning your own judgment. Now we reach the rarest level, the level almost no one reaches, because it requires something uncomfortable. Doubting yourself, not your knowledge, but your ability to judge your own thinking. At this level, you ask, what if I'm wrong about how I evaluate myself? What if my confidence is misleading? What if my strategies are outdated? You begin to audit your own system. You don't just think better, you check whether your way of improving is still valid. Because even self-awareness can become a trap. Even good strategies can become outdated habits. And people who don't question themselves eventually plateau. They think they're improving, but they're just repeating. This level breaks that cycle. It forces recalibration. It keeps your mind aligned with reality, not comfort. Most people spend their lives upgrading tools, chasing information, searching for shortcuts, but they ignore the one thing that uses all of it: their mind. Fix that, and everything else improves. Ignore it, and nothing truly changes. So here's the question: which level are you operating on right now? And more importantly, which level are you ready to reach next? If this changed the way you see your own thinking, drop your insight below. And if you're ready to upgrade your mind, subscribe to Dark Mind 999, because this is just the beginning.